Welcome to the Vault Podcast. We are your car culture cultivators. I'm Shaun, and of course, we are joined by...
I am Mike.
And Joe, how's it going?
Welcome, guys. Joe, what's going on this week?
Yeah, so my week's been really, really crazy. Just a lot of work, kind of nonstop. The past couple of months, I don't know what it is, but everyone is getting details and stuff, and I'm really grateful to Spencer and Colin for helping out, because I wouldn't be able to do all that stuff without them. And so it's just been nonstop, like to the point of like I don't even really know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just kind of like putting my head down and working, and then just going to sleep and repeating. So it's good. It's good, but you know.
Nice. What cool stuff you have at the shop this week?
Yeah, I mean, so earlier this week I got to detail a Chimera, which is one of those Lancia 037 like replica kit car things. I mean, saying it's a kit car is a disservice. It's a very expensive, like fancy thing, but that's been fun. I got Frank's Chevy Sprint Turbo at the shop right now. That's being detailed.
Frank is in Robert's old Chevy.
Okay, it's that one. Yeah. So Robert bought it and then let it sit, and it decomposed, and then Frank took it on a rally, which made it even worse. And then he gave it to me to detail, and it's fine. You know, I mean, like we got some water spots off of it. The paint's a little bit more white now instead of off-white. It's okay. It's not perfect, but it's also, you know, not that expensive of a car. So
Nice. If you guys are picking up on all the noise in the background, you're going to have to excuse us. We have some roofers that decided that they're going to work overtime tonight in cleaning up the roof. So forgive the background noise.
Or if you see someone fall through the roof behind
exactly.
us.
yeah, that'd be great if that actually happened.
That'd be good action, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's been good. I mean, it's really, really busy. I have an E30 wagon that's at the shop right now. We're going through. But yeah, I mean, haven't been doing anything else other than work. So, you know, how about you, Shaun?
Nice. Car stuff this week. A whole lot of nothing. Just dealing, as I was saying, is I got rear-ended. Well, not really rear-ended, but somebody tapped my bumper in a parking lot in my M2. So just trying to take care of that. Going through all the insurance headaches, you know, with that stuff. But the insurance has been pretty kind to me so far. I think they've been trying to give me the runaround with giving me tasks to do in order to justify why my car is, you know, this much money. But I know that game. And so I know exactly what to say to insurance companies. So we're moving right along on that, so which has been pretty cool. Didn't really get a chance to get anything out this week. I felt like I did. But no, actually, no, I didn't. I didn't get the chance to drive out anything this week. My goal is I've been having these LTW wheels for the E36. So my goal is I got to get those put on. I bought those a while ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to get those put on probably this week.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for the summer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the car will look way nicer.
Yeah.
When with those, I mean, I like the wheels that are on it now, but the LTWs are like proper.
Yeah.
For that car.
Yeah.
Look good.
Did you buy the wagon?
So funny story. So I'm still on the fence with the wagon.
Many people have asked me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, because I was telling them we were having the podcast. They're like,
Okay.
are you going to see the wagon? Is you going to bring it? And I'm like, I guarantee you didn't buy it.
Well, it was the point where I was going back and forth with the guy last week actually on the show, and he asked if I had a tow truck, and I thought about it because I love cars, but I hate cars that don't run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm
This
wondering,
is a headache.
am I going to get it and it's going to sit around? It's got supposedly a bad thermostat, but is that, something else, more mechanically related? So I guess I'm saying I'm just developing the courage to follow through on my conviction.
Get a U-Haul while I still have a truck
Yeah.
and haul it home. But realistically, if it's just a thermostat, you should be able to go up there, take the thermostat out, and just drive it. And
Yeah.
it should be okay.
Field trip?
Yeah. Where's it at?
Sacramento.
Yeah, okay. It's not bad.
There you
For
go.
the price, you can't lose.
Can't lose,
Yeah,
right?
you're
Unless it's
can't.
really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just walk away at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also going to take up the spot of 3 cars.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, you just daily drive it. It replaces the van.
That's very
Or
true.
just park it outside.
I could not imagine bringing that thing home. Dude, my wife would be so pissed.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You
Having
just
a
say it
nice-
belongs to somebody else.
What's that?
You say it belongs to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. How about you?
So it's been a kind of a big week in cars. So last Thursday, I drove down to LA to Huntington Beach to look at a 735, an E32, so 1988 7 Series that was on Facebook Market. A friend of ours, Garrett, who goes by I think GT Golf on Instagram, sent me the link, and he basically saying you need this, and it was the most amazing looking 7 Series that I've seen in a long time. Just great color combo, royal blue with indigo interior, a color I've never seen on one of these.
Nice.
And it looked like it was brand new. I messaged a friend who really knows BMWs, who lives about 15 miles from this guy, and he said, I'll go look. I could go look at it, but I could tell you from the pictures it looks perfect. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go look at it myself. I was off on Thursday, jumped in the 7 and drove to LA and brought cash and looked at it, drove it, bought it, and told him I'd be back in a couple days to get it and bring it home. And the original plan was we were going to drive down on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was looking at the car, the tires are between 20 and 30 years old. The fuel lines had 1988 date codes on them. All their cooling system hoses were original. I thought, man, there's just so many things that could go wrong, and it's such a nice car. I'm going to look into shipping it. So I reached out to a few people. Jason Camisa sent me a link or a number to a guy that he uses and that Haggerty uses for cars.
Nice.
And I text the guy, and the guy's like, I just happen to be on my way to LA right now, and I'm going to be coming back on Saturday, and I have a space, and I could get it for you. And I said, excellent. So I worked out the shipping, and the car was literally brought to me the next day. And it is I knew it was as advertised just from looking at it. And I've just been going through a few little things. It had the factory radio in it, which worked once and then kind of froze up and stopped working. But I wanted to put a Blaupunk, one of the modern Blaupunks in it anyway. So I bought a Frankfurt on Amazon that showed up today. Put that in. I started doing some polishing on the paint. We'll see. It's 735 automatic, so it's not a fast car, but it is really, really nice.
It looks really, really nice.
It's pretty incredible.
Everything.
Yeah. I mean, it was one owner.
Yeah.
Guy was a Disney Imagineer, and I think over the last 10 years, based on the Carfax, it's had about 800 miles driven on it, and based on like some little dents and scratches on the surface, I think it's been sitting in a garage under a tarp with acting as a shelf for stuff, for boxes and things. So things are polishing up, but it's like all original paint, the original plates that look perfect. Just incredible. It's like just a time capsule. So really excited to have it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, and then on the sales side, I think I might have sold the truck today. Someone messaged me on Instagram and said, hey, is your truck still for sale? I've got a friend who's looking for one, and she loves the teal, and she doesn't mind something that's a little bit beat up. And he came out and looked at it and climbed all over it and drove it and said, if she doesn't buy it, I'm going to, because this thing's amazing for what you're asking for it. So I just need to get that smogged, and that should be gone this weekend. So
I'm surprised. I mean, you've had that for sale off and on for the past couple
for like
of
a
years
year.
now.
Yeah, at least a year. Yeah, at least started last summer.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much use. It basically just like drives my barbecue to like people's houses so I can cook and stuff.
We use it to pick up the cooler from here for the car show, big car show, but we could have also done that with a wagon.
Yeah.
So it's like when someone needs to borrow a truck, or the rare time I need a truck. But honestly, for just when I'm paying an insurance on it, I could go rent a truck like 3 times a year easily. So
Yep. That's another piece of news for me that someone watched the last couple podcasts ago. We were talking about that Alfa Romeo. What is it?
Oh yeah,
the
164.
164, and someone offered a Milano manual for like $1,000 that needs a fuel pump. So I'm wondering if I want to go down that rabbit hole into Alfa ownership for a little bit, or if I want to maybe find a better example.
Yeah.
But I'm going to reach out to them tonight, see what's up. But $1,000, just like your wagon.
Holy crap.
It might be. I think for $1,000, it might. If the body and the interior are okay, I think it's probably worth it. It's probably going to be like you put a fuel pump in, and now it's got a bunch of fuel injection issues. But something different. It'd be kind of fun to go through. You know?
Gosh, remember, like, it seemed like just yesterday, like, just trying to find a used car of anything of, like, value was just, like, impossible. And now, I mean, you can find everything is on Marketplace right now.
Yeah, it really is. Everyone's projects are being sold, which is good, because we'll talk about it a little bit later, but, like, everything is unobtainable now.
Yeah.
Like, nothing that, like, at my generation aspires for, we can afford it anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't aspire for a Milano, but, like, I do aspire for an Alfa Romeo at some point, and $1,000 for a project, you know,
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it.
Yeah. An 850 or an 840.
Yeah.
What's the difference between the 840 Ci and the 850 Ci?
V8 versus V12.
The V12. Yeah.
And I think you kind of want a V12 in one of those.
I meant is there an 850 Ci?
There is, and that's just naming changes that happen later. So the early cars were just 850i.
Yeah.
The Ci came when BMW was doing some naming changes, and it just means coupe. And then there was the CSI, which was like the big dog cars.
Got it.
But yeah, I think one of those you want a V12.
Yeah.
You know. And so the E38 I drove. A guy, kind of an interesting setup, and it seemed like it'd be a fun little gig to do in retirement. But he has like a one bay shop, and he does some maintenance for particular customers. He buys and sells cars. And a lot of these people who buy cars from him bring them back for maintenance. And this 750 was a car he sold to this guy in 2004.
Nice.
And the guy's like wanted to get something newer. And so he sold it back to him, and he did some work to it. And now he's basically reselling it. And it was kind of miley, 180,000 miles, but it drove really well. It didn't need anything.
Nice.
Price wasn't terrible. So if I could sell maybe one more car, maybe I'll buy that too.
There you go.
So,
what do you think? What's on the potential chopping block?
I don't know. There's really not much else I want to sell. I've got still an 85 500 SEL that's just been sitting out in front of the shop for a couple of years that I go out and start and move around every once in a while that I kind of lost interest in.
Yeah.
I bought it as a project. I actually bought it up in Sacramento and drove it home and never really did much with it. I did do some work on it, but then when I bought the 500 SCC, I pretty much took all the parts off of that and put them on the SCC. And put the SCC's old stuff back on the SEL. So it still runs and drives, but it's it's got a lot of needs. But it's straight. It's not rusty. The paint's shot. The interior's okay. Nautical blue. If anybody's looking for like maybe $3,500, $4,000.
I'll reach out to Ian's friend, because Ian's friend said he would just drive. The guy who bought the 300 SD.
Oh yeah.
Said he would buy it and drive it and just doesn't care if I told him it wasn't going to get there, but he's like, I don't care, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I would drive it that long of a distance.
No, I wouldn't either, but he said he would. So.
Yeah. The guy in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Washington. His friend, remember his friend that came with him?
Oh, yeah.
Was like all over your car.
That's right.
That's right. I'll buy it when he's done with it,
right,
kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to ever do anything to it. I'd like to get rid of it. Boy, if both
as
that
a project,
and the truck,
he bought it if it was a project.
If both that and the truck go, that's like 2 parking spots out in front of the shop.
Which would be great, because the body shop takes all my spots.
Yeah. Although if we move those, they'll just take those spots too. So.
Yeah. You have to park something out there intentionally.
Mm-hmm. No, I just block them. Like, so, like, if like this is it's more of a petty thing for me, but like if there's cars in front of my shop, I will just block them with all of my cars, and I'll just wait until they tell me to move the cars, and then I'll be like, this wouldn't happen if
you have spots in front of my space.
But yeah, anyway, anything else before we go into the member Discord finds?
No, I'm curious to see what our members have out there. Speaking of Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Discord, Discord is a place where people can share photos, audio chats, all that stuff. We have Discord for our members. It's free to join the Discord when you're a Patreon member. Very, very entertaining, super fun. Lots of Marketplace finds we post in here. We do drives, we drive sims. I think drive sims will happen in a couple weeks. Dinners, you name it. Member nights, poker nights, all that stuff. I say this every week.
F1 watching?
F1 watch party, which is actually tomorrow if you're listening to this on the first day of this post. And Jared's been kind enough to offer his subscription, and we're going to be streaming it through live onto the projector, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Perfect.
So
live from the studio.
Yeah.
From Vault Studios.
So without further ado, we'll get into them. This first one, I think, was from Spencer. This would be beneficial if Robert was here, because he's a Volvo wagon guy. But this is a 2005 Volvo V70R, 200,000 miles, but $5,000, which is like kind of like pretty like there's kind of a lot of car for this much money.
When I saw this posted, I thought it might have been Robert's car.
It does look like Robert's.
I mean, it's the same car.
Yeah.
Except there's no interior pictures.
Not
but
a lot of pictures. Yeah, kind of light on photos.
Yeah. I really like. I drove his car. I like it. It seems his has blue interior. This is tan. But I like these cars. But something about I mean, maybe it was just Robert specifically, but I drove it from my house to here, and things seemed like great, but like there was like a weird fragility to certain things. Like the car would shift and it would feel fragile. Like it would shift and it would be smooth.
This is a
but
great
something
video this guy's got posted.
Yeah.
Did you and Robert go together? You guys go get yogurt?
I don't know. I know.
Go to Whole Foods.
I know. There's
Maybe it's just Robert.
a preconceived.
Robert does kind of destroy cars. So.
Well, that yeah. I mean, this car has been. He did put some money into it recently. He rebuilt the suspension, but I like them. I have some friend like Colin really wants one of these, but I just something about them just feels like it's just for long-term ownership. It just seems like there's too many things that could go wrong with these.
Yeah.
I've even looked into like the non-Rs just because they're so comfortable, but it just something just the vibe is the car feels like it doesn't want to be moving for that long period of time.
This one's a salvage title too. Although for $5,000, it's like the interior was pretty grungy.
You're getting a really cool turbocharged 5-cylinder, I think 300 and something horsepower. It's a good car. The transmissions blow up on these, and the suspension is really finicky, but
decent tires. Pirellis.
You know, it's a cool car. This was Spencer's find, by the way, I think. And then I think this one actually was popped up on my feed, I think, from the Volvo. So I wanted to post it because these are like slept on, I think.
Yeah.
And this is the same price, $6,000.
Oh, the ML.
2001 ML55 in a really cool opal color. I think it's like blue opal.
I think it's like
that.
it looks like the same color my S600 was.
The same S600 color. I want one of these so badly.
Why?
These are awesome. It's the same engine as the E55.
Yeah, they're supposed to be pretty good. Actually.
They're bulletproof, and they're like they're rugged. They're comfortable. Probably great. They're surprisingly okay on gas. You can get like 22 miles per gallon on the highway. I was thinking about getting like a 320 just as a detail rig. But I was doing a research, and the 55 actually is the one you want for reliability, for just everything.
I'd say it's an Irvine.
Okay.
I would buy one of these for a detailing rig because I do need a detailing rig because I'm just tired of like my wagon is so nice, and I feel kind of bad like putting. I mean, like I put like 2,000 miles on it like last month. You know?
So this over an X5?
Yeah. From this generation, I don't really care. I mean, I know like we have friends who have 4.6 ISs, 4.8 ISs. I don't really care about them. Like if I'm going to get an X5, I'm going to get it for the gimmick with a manual, you know?
Yeah.
Like a 3-liter manual. Or I'm going to skip that generation and go diesel for the X5 diesel, like 2009.
Yeah.
But this is just one of those things. I have friends who have them with like 500,000 miles on them, and they get their tow rigs. The cars can be abused, and it's just like I like tools, you know, and this is a tool that's comfortable.
I remember when I first met my wife, her parents had one of these it was like a Mad Max kit on it. You know, it had like the steel protection, headlight covers.
Yeah, I think that was
big ass bumper.
I think that's an option. You could buy. I think it's like a factory option
for the money. 135,000 miles.
$6,000
this seems like a
that's
deal.
light. Yeah.
Seems like a deal.
Are there any interior pictures in this one?
No, there's no interior pictures. It's probably black. They're all black, but like. These are worth nothing. The nicest one in the world with like 20,000 miles, $15,000.
Yeah.
You
Is this an AMG trim, or did it actually AMG touch this?
The
AMG
55
car.
was
Okay.
It is the same engine
300
as my E55.
350 horsepower V8. It packs a punch. I think it's a 5-speed. I mean, this car you would change your tune if you drove it. It's really nice. It's actually quite a nice car.
Okay.
I never actually. I take it back. I've never driven one, but
They are. You know, they have a good reputation.
Yeah.
Even as like off-roaders, they're supposed to be pretty good.
I really want one. I mean, if I wasn't paying off a tax bill right now, I probably would try to like look into this, you know, because I do want one. And I think Allie would approve of this too. But that wasn't a membered find. I found that based off of the Volvo. So we'll go back into this though. I'm not sure who found this. Might have been Spencer also. Spencer has a tendency to send 20
I
at
think
once.
This was Spencer. Yeah.
And which is awesome because I like going through his finds because his finds are very unique. But like, it's hard to navigate. There's so many finds these days; it's hard to navigate through them all. But if this is a 1998 Saab 9000 CSE, there was one for sale not too long ago for like $3,000. There's one picture,
Only one picture.
but like, these are like, I don't know. I don't really know anything about them, but they're cool looking and they're cheap. And I don't know why they're
Comes
cheap.
with the bike rack.
The wheels are pretty cool.
Yeah.
No bike though. Bike rack is included, but not the bike. And I guess you don't get the porta potty in the background either.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's actually, I mean, $2,500 under 100,000 miles.
There's an
It's
even
not
cleaner
bad.
one
Yeah, I mean,
in Sausalito
that's
for like
tempting.
$3,000, and that's like seems like a huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting daily driver. You know, it's like not something that like I know Sean's repulsed by this. I could tell by his face.
You tell him my face.
But like I don't know. It's something like if you want something that isn't like a Camry, and you want it to be different, and you want it to be like stylish and interesting, like this is a good choice. Definitely not as reliable. Probably way worse in every way, but like at least it looks kind of fun.
yeah, I got to talk to Spencer offline. We got to talk about some things.
You come to my shop. He's there a bunch. And then this one, if I can get it to. Oh, so this stemmed off of my detail with Frank because we were talking about the paints on the Chevy Sprint Turbo. So I found one, and it's this video. I don't know why these videos today have been blurry, but this isn't Tatsio's because I was thinking at first it was Tatsio's, but it isn't. So this is the Chevy Sprint Turbo. Let's go away from that.
Lovebirds.
Abuelo Jan. So Chevy Sprint Turbo. This is basically a Suzuki. You turn the car on and it sounds and feels exactly like your AutoZam.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it has some bones and similar bones, but it feels like a K car inside. And I drove it from Frank's storage unit to my shop, which is just across the street. But like in this car, it feels like it's was like miles. But like my favorite part about this car is inside the cluster, which unfortunately there isn't a picture of. But there is right here. But right here in the tack, right when you get into boost. Right when it starts to boost, there's a huge light that says turbo, and it lights up and starts flashing like as you're in boost, which is awesome. It's a shit box, but like it's like a great car for back roads.
Yeah. What's funny about this car is my wife knows absolutely nothing about cars, and then when Robert posted his car, I was like, "Oh, did you see Robert's new car?" She's like, "Is that a Chevy Sprint Turbo?" I'm like, "Huh?" Yeah, apparently this was her like family car back in the day.
Wow.
And mind you, they had a huge family, so this was before seatbelt laws and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine like a family of six.
That's why they needed the turbo.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of seatbelts, so we'll get back to the Chevy Sprint Turbo, but I got to detail a 1948 Cadillac sedanette, and there was no seatbelts in that car. That's why I brought it up. But I wanted to show it off because this thing is like the biggest and most disastrous thing to drive I've ever been in. But it's like really cool to look at. It's literally exactly this color, this exact car. And I just wanted to show it off. But like this thing to drive, it just goes to show. It's also kind of like on the same topic of our main topic this week, but it just goes to show how far engineering has come because this car, if I can get the photos of it, yeah, we'll figure it out in post. But when you're moving this car, everything is a suggestion. Like there's no power. Like the throttle is like goes like a quarter of an inch, and it's not floor. It's like just meant to be smooth, or maybe something's wrong with the car. But like you like you accelerate, nothing happens. It shifts 3 times, and you're going 40 miles an hour, and that's it basically. He said it could get onto the highway, but I didn't trust it, so I didn't go on the highway. But like the steering is non-existent. The brakes are manual, so I was feeling like I was stopping the car with like a rubber stick on the ground, and like it. I don't know. It was a cool car to detail, but I didn't just. It's just the seatbelt laws made me think it was just like this. We've come a long way.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Chevy Sprint Turbo. Frank is selling his. So if you are interested or know someone who's interested in a hot hatch experience, similar to a GTI, but not as nice, I think, but more like exciting. I would say because the 3-cylinder turbo thing. Hit him up. He's I think 7,000 will say we'll buy this car from him.
Nice.
So
I think if I came home with that station wagon and a Chevy Sprint Turbo,
yeah, you could tow the
the wagon with the Sprint Turbo.
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the marketplace finds. Once again, if you'd like to support us, the Patreon link's down in the description. And when you're a Patreon member, you get a link, which is also in the description, to become a member of the Discord. You can post all these things online. And we're doing a lot more. But like I said, we have an F1 viewing party, all that stuff. So it's a good time.
Cool.
All right, so for today's main topic, we're talking about the future of car culture. So last week we talked about the Leno law, which, if you don't know, isn't passing yet. Just in case you're curious.
And actually, the latest I've seen is it is now in suspense, which means it's probably just going to die, because there was a hearing last. It was posted on Instagram maybe Monday, and nobody was there to support it, and there was one person from CARB there to talk against it, and they basically said, thank you for your input. This bill is now going. We will put this bill into suspense.
Oh,
which
boy.
sounds like,
So reach out to your representative.
yeah, unless something happens, that's just where it goes to die.
Yeah. So reach out to your representative. But
So don't throw away those hot smog.
Yeah, I
phone
saw
numbers
I
yet.
saw a whole bunch of like fake posts about saying that it was, had passed.
oh my god, I was
and all
getting
this
so many
stuff.
posts.
Yeah.
It was terrible. But
Yeah.
we talked about the Leno law's effect on car culture being generally positive. And now we're kind of taking the opposite turn about the future of car culture and how kids like younger than me, maybe not be driving yet, are not getting into his cars.
Yeah, well, what we were talking about is, just being a father here. Is we've been very fortunate, to have our kids like grow up, especially like me and Mike, have our kids grow up around cars, right? Around cars that we really that probably meant more to us, right? And our kids kind of got into it and everything, and made you guys the car guys that you guys are today. So, with that being said, is, we were just kind of thinking, with today's generation and, those who maybe are planning to have kids, and maybe those that maybe had kids like recently, babies or whatever, is, what potentially would be like, what's their car future going to look like? What cars are they going to be in? Because normally, we're probably into the cars that we were into when probably we were teenagers. So within like a 10, 15 year span, we'll just say that to keep the conversation going. But what cars, like let's say like 2020, like on. What's the pull for this generation? Because it's seemingly like all the kind of cool stuff that's out there is pretty unaffordable. Like, for everything that's being produced right now is so unaffordable. Anything like of any like true car, I'd say, substance.
Mhm.
But what does the future look like for these children? Is the car generation, or car culture, is that dying? Where do you see it the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, like the cars that I was into when I was probably like 2011 or something, or 2010, like right before I was getting a license, like I had a poster of like a 1M, which it was like probably 50 grand.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously was unaffordable to me, but like is not that, I mean, if you look at it now, is like kind of cheap,
At 50 grand still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still at 50 grand, yeah. And then the E90 M3 is like probably like 65, and nowadays an M3 is like over 100, which obviously inflation is a thing. But like the poster cars, I mean, they're not, I don't know if they're necessary. I mean, I would like to own a 1M. I don't know if it's aspirational, but like I could really realistically see myself owning one of those cars at some point,
Yeah.
And they were on my wall. These days in 2020, I mean, I can't speak for like a 15-year-old, but
Sure.
I'm willing to bet like right now the poster cars are like probably like bespoke things, like singers and like Bugattis and stuff that like they will clearly never own. Like because if you want a singer, you probably have to know a guy, and then you have to spend $2 million. And same with Bugatti, you need to know 17 people and have to spend 4. And like
But you can't, like, hype culture will always be there in some form or fashion, right? There's always going to be like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari on somebody's, wall.
Mhm.
But like you said, there was a 1M that, got your attention young, what does that look like? What is that 1M maybe for, today?
Yeah, I mean,
Or for this
honestly, I think it's
generation
going
coming up?
down. I think the age of the enthusiasm, like I think the years of cars are going down. Because
Yeah.
like when I'm in the E28 M5, like kids also like freak out and get excited, you know. And like when I grew up and I saw an E20 M5 or an E34 M5, like I was way more into the new stuff. Like when I was in like 15 or 16, like I was explicitly wanting like E90 M3. I like we need to figure out a way to like lease one so I could sit in it or like do something
Yeah.
I was like wanting the new stuff, and now it's like totally, I don't think it's like that at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably because like they're completely unaffordable, and like the media is completely shifted its attention away from like the Bugatti social media, or like even BMW's social media is not geared towards 15-year-olds anymore. They're geared towards like 47-year-olds who like just sold their like company or something. So I don't know. I mean, I think maybe like the culture is gonna stay the same, but like it's just the cars that are. I mean, I guess this is a cop-out answer because I think this always happens, but like the cars are getting way older.
Yeah.
And no one's aspiring to new stuff now. They're just aspiring to like be like different in old cars, I guess, like cars from the 80s and maybe even the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, if you look at the stuff, you brought up the 48, the 48 or 40s, 50s cars. I mean, that culture is pretty much just dying out.
Mhm.
And those cars are just, they're hitting rock bottom prices.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Yeah, and that car,
don't
you saw
come
that
in.
car sold for 100.
And they
a
also
goodie.
drive terribly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're horrible.
I mean,
cars.
you go to like a good guy show today, and it's the same people sitting in their chairs around their cars. But I 4 or 5 years ago, I kind of thought, I'm going to get an old Pontiac again because I loved those when I was a kid, and I bought one, and it was terrible.
They're terrible.
Because back then when I drove them as a kid, I'm like, they seemed okay, but the bar has definitely moved based on experience. And I remember one time I had this really, really nice looking red on red 63 Grand Prix, 2-barrel carb, just a gorgeous car. And I had 2 high school friends who were up in town and like, hey, let's take this thing. We're going to go to dinner. And first off, the alternator went out, so everything was dying as we were driving. Like, okay, we got to go home and get into one of the BMWs. And second, we were just driving in traffic, and traffic stopped, and I was standing on the brakes with both feet, thinking, I hope we stop.
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is it. I got to get rid of this thing. It's terrible. I don't want to drive this. So, I bet there are kids though who look at the Civic Type R, the like GR Corolla. We saw some young guy in a K car, an Alto Works.
On the way here.
On
Someone we don't know, which is crazy because we know
we've never seen before.
What kind of K car?
It was
Alto.
Alto Works.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
Todd has one, but this one was red.
It's the Gran Turismo, like the Gran Turismo car, like
it's
what
like
you
the car you
started
get.
what you started with
Yeah.
in Gran Turismo. Yeah. So there are. Yeah. I mean, I think I can't think of any really modern cars because there's really nothing that I like. But I'm sure there are modern cars. I mean, there's probably some kid out there who really wants a C8 Corvette or a Cadillac Blackwing or something that is going to depreciate over the next 15 years, and maybe by the time he's 20, he can swing it. you know?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if any kid these days wants one of those Blackwing or black whatever
I don't know.
that one, but like because it's so. Once again, it's like an under the radar car that no one really knows about. Like a similar like a 500E, like that'll have its moment though for sure. That car will be valuable, but I think the Civic Type R for sure is aspirational. $45,000 new. If you can't buy them for those because everyone's hype. You can ADMs and everything, but like. After driving my Civic for a year, I would totally buy a Civic Type R. Like they're awesome.
I saw one today when I was actually going to the shop coming out of the Honda dealer, and I'm like, that's a pretty cool.
I'd remove the wing. And keep the rest because it has a wide body. Yeah. But the wing's too much. But everything else is awesome.
I guess I can see kids too. I mean, this generation of BMWs is just like, I think it just feeds like kids' imaginations, just with, everything that people are doing to them nowadays. Not only colors, but the imagination gone wild with BMWs. The 3 Series, 4 Series.
Mm-hmm. But do you think a 15-year-old kid like right now, like, even from a car family, is like looking at a new M2 and is like, and that's what I want?
I bet there are some. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd say
M2,
say M3, M4.
M3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's because with this generational difference. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around if I was 15 and the M3 looked like what it looks like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be into it. But I might have been. I don't know. Obviously, things are different now. But
Yeah.
I think we all tend to gravitate towards what we want when we're at that younger age, because that's where I go back to, is like the cars that I really wanted when I was, high school, college, 18 to 24. That's my market, 1988 to 1994. That's everything that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think car culture is dying with with my generation, or do you think we're just evolving into something different?
I think there'll be a massive hole somewhere where a generation of cars is just going to be kind of lost.
Mm-hmm. I think
think about
I think the cars will be, not the
cars,
people.
Yeah.
You go to any of the meets, and there are plenty of people.
There's a lot of kids,
15 to 30, or 25. Yeah.
But if you think about it, like 80s and 90s cars were hated for like a long time, and then Radwood came along and then like it resurged like crazy. So like there might be a lost generation right now. It might be like early 2000s or 2010s, but like they'll probably have the moment again,
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't think it was Radwood that really did it. I think there were a lot of people who liked these cars, and Radwood gave them a venue.
Yeah.
Because I always have, that's really what I've always been into.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just now I've got a place where I could take my car rather than just going to a BMW meet. I can go to something that is non-denominational, and have other cars there that are also kind of interesting in different ways. I mean, you see some of these. Even some of the American stuff. I mean, there's some cool cars. We were talking at the shop today. Like, ultimate Radwood would be to take my '93 teal green Chevy truck and tow the Chevy Sprint Turbo to a Radwood show.
Yeah,
and we would win a prize.
Yeah. But for the most part, 80s to 90s American cars were just garbage.
Mm-hmm.
They were just garbage. So the fact that people just have them on the roads nowadays and they're driving them is a credit to the owners. But they're American cars. Some of the things that BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, for that matter, we're doing.
It was a totally different experience. Totally different, I've never driven an 80s or 90s American car because I don't really count the Chevy Sprint Turbo. I mean, the truck is I don't really. It's a truck, so it's like they all kind of do the same thing. But like, I don't know the experience of them, but I do know that like everyone around me says they're terrible. So I kind of agree with them.
So the last modern 90s car my parents had was a 91 Camaro, and my dad bought it new in 91, so he would have been, how old would he have been, like 60 something, and it was just like it was a V6 car. It was just like a little runaround commuter car, and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't the quality of like a European car at the time, but for what it was 140 horsepower V6 that looked cool, so
yeah. Like I said, I think there'll definitely be a hole with some of the cars, with a lot of the cars. Obviously, I mean, everything that's happening now with cars, maybe I'd say maybe the past couple years. I mean, outside of the GR Corolla,
they're definitely way less.
Yeah,
cars.
there's way less.
There used to be like
stuff.
a Halo attainable car from every single manufacturer.
And then who knows? Because you figure now with electric cars, kind of going. I don't want to say necessarily going away, but definitely a pause, I think, on some of the manufacturers and saying, and with this administration saying, hey, we're going to roll back some stuff and we're going to make, gas cool cars, and we're going to, peel back some of the laws. The EPA
I mean, they might
there.
make a whole bunch of interesting things.
Yeah. But it's going to take some time.
Yeah, it'll be like,
do it.
So there'll be like a 10-year period of time where there's these like random EVs that are just kind of like
and there are some pretty cool, like if you look at there's no Camaro now, right? But if you look at the Mustang family, like the GTD, and that's like a halo car for the Mustang family.
The problem is that it's not it's like $500,000.
Right,
It's not attainable.
right, but
That's
it brings it makes people who look at that
and want the
think,
Mustang.
wow, I want I don't know what
like a regular GT.
What a regular hot Mustang GT is.
That's
now,
like probably a $50,000 car.
Yeah, probably. I mean that was the first new car I bought out of college, was a Fox body Mustang GT. It was a leftover 91 that I bought in summer of 92.
Nice.
And I mean it was a pretty cool car
Rolling
then and
in
now.
a 5.0.
That's right.
That was my head can't blow. Sorry.
Gonna get demonetized now. So yeah, comment down below what you guys think about the future of car culture. It seems like it's not going away. We might just have a lapse. But that brings us into the scenario, which is also about our own poster cars. So you have to look back at your poster cars. I'm sure everyone had them. All three of us had at least one poster of a car in somewhere. But you get to choose one of the poster cars and do a cross-country rally with it. So what is the car and what country are you going to be driving through? So, Shaun, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, if I have to look at my poster cars when I was a kid, of course it was like a T-top Trans Am.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, I'm telling you, Burt Reynolds was the guy, as we said in the last episode.
Yeah.
So I can't betray my love for Burt Reynolds and my love for a T-top Trans Am. And what country? I mean, of course,
Well,
dude,
I
got to keep it in the U.S.
You have to go through the U.S. Yeah, that's
You're going to do a cannonball.
Exactly. I might be down south somewhere. Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have a lot of posters. So I would go, my dad and I on like a Saturday would go to car dealerships and look at cars.
Yeah.
And he was not really a car guy. I mean, he liked to have a car that was kind of okay, but he didn't do anything. You know, he never worked on them. He never really went. He would buy the V6 Camaro and not the V8 Camaro, not the Z28. But we would go. It's like, hey, this car dealership's got free hot dogs on Saturday. Let's go get a hot dog and look at cars. So we'd go do that, and I'd get brochures, and I would cut pictures out of the brochures, and I put them on my wall as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's boring. I hate to do this, but the one that would have been on my wall would have been a Trans Am. Yeah. And it would have been 1980.
Well, they must have had a huge impact.
Yeah, and it was for the same reason. It was the movies at the time. But we had nothing. My parents never had a foreign car, so so nothing European would have ever even made my radar because I had no exposure to it at that point.
Yeah.
Actually, the only exposure I had to it was when I was a kid waiting as I went to a Catholic school, and there tends to be money at those places, and it would be the Mercedes diesel wagons picking up at the carpool line, and I always thought those were cool, which is why I kind of gravitated towards those for a while. But I never had one on my wall. I never had a poster. I never had a picture of one. It would have been I could picture this black Camaro Z28 with orange graphics on it that was on my wall, and a dark blue Trans Am that was on my wall.
Nice. Were you more into like the 80s models?
Yeah. I mean, because that would have been. I mean, I would have been 10 in 80, 81.
Yeah.
So
no, I meant models, like the models, like
model cars.
No, the models like the model girls in the 80s, like a big picture of like Samantha Fox. Or,
I never had any of those either. Yeah.
who was hot back in the day?
Couldn't tell you.
Raquel Welch.
No way that is at all.
Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah.
Dude, Farrah Fawcett.
I have no idea.
Back to the cannonball. So.
Yeah. If we're doing just posters, I think I don't have many posters, so 1M would be the one, and I probably want to go through like Ireland or something like that. It'd be kind of fun. I guess imagine the Top Gear episode, so it would need to be cloudy. I'd want to be in that moment, but also I think another. At my age, another like poster car adjacent thing would be like video games,
Mm-hmm.
And like something that I aspired for in like Gran Turismo and stuff was like a 996. I really liked 996s, and I still to this day want like a really nice one.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd probably be let down by them, but like that's what I would want. Another thing I would go for probably would be like an S430 Ferrari. I really, I mean, those might be terrible. We should talk to our resident Ferrari person, but like, I just like the way I liked that was like that car stuck with me. And then the last one, a DB9 from James Bond, like we talked about 2 episodes ago. But I think the 1M is the poster car, and I would go through some sort of Irish like fun back roads.
Yeah.
But yeah, comment down below what your poster car choice would be and where you'd be taking it. Anything else before we close this out?
No, I like that. Good topic. I'm curious to see what everybody else's opinions are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been getting some. Actually, people talked about the wagon, specifically about like the family and stuff. So many people were trying to get you to get that car, and they were also saying that they would be like obnoxiously jealous of you if their dad drove them to school in a whatever
in the AutoZan.
In the AutoZan. So like, so you got a lot of support. But
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Comment down below. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. But without further ado, we'll close it out. We'll see you next week on another episode. Take care.
I appreciate it.